No, I'm just kidding. Ah, okay.
Oh, it's supposed to be.
There's one more from John Textrom. To me.
Oh, there's
Ah.
one.
Where's that one from?
I have 3 of them downstairs.
Yeah, I have 3 of them.
I
looks
have
like
4 of them. Don't
But I have the largest one of anybody.
I think I still have one
Oh,
of
you have the
these.
mini one.
Yeah, yeah, look at that. Something we all brought it today. That's good.
I have them in my bedroom, and my wife used to use them to poke the fire in the fireplace.
Oh,
No,
get out.
It was very small.
yeah, they have a little burn mark on the bottom. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I think I still have one of the original records with tape on it up there somewhere. It was from the old days. I don't know if I'd fit into it now. But
I've found my true place in life. Sometimes it can be incredibly challenging and hard, but it's just made me dig deep and realize how much I want this life. It might not be
I don't
forever.
know if I can put this on the screen or not.
Tools and skills that it takes.
I don't know if you can see it.
What's that?
What's
There's
that?
There's what it looks like.
Is that a big screen TV?
Yeah, it's a 65, and there's everybody in the background, and then this the front. This in the front here. Where the hell is it? Anyway, you can't. It's the it's my screen. So I use my mouse, and everything shows up on the screen.
Does anyone other than me wonder where the last
Is that
40
the
or
same
50 years went?
image? The same image shows up? I thought the same image, right? The one that's on the computer and the one that's.
Yes, anything that your camera is facing is going to show up.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, the camera. Well,
Yeah, the
Yeah.
camera. It uses a little camera. If you've got using a laptop, it's the one right on top here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
the one that's on
now
top of my
anything on
computer.
your computer screen will show up on the TV.
Or vice versa.
Okay, I need to work on that. That's
Oh,
cool.
no, you're right. Everything on your computer screen. So if you go to if I switched out of here and went to my emails, all my emails would be going across the screen.
Well, I'll tell you what, listen, I'm gonna share my screen because we're gonna start with Tom's suggestion. And he gave me a couple of things. So what you need to do is, let me share my screen. And I'll share this one. Okay, you should be able to see that now.
Yeah, I got, I see like a console.
Now, and the question is,
Yeah. Any of you guys want to make a guess on what that is?
I know exactly what it is.
Called stereo record player.
Anything is.
We went out on a limb for that one.
it's a liquor cabinet.
What is it?
Really?
Yeah, it's the liquor cabinet now, but what was it?
That's
Oh,
what-
there it is.
That's what it was.
There's the record player.
Real danger.
Record
What
player,
record
radio,
player?
stereo, the largest one they ever made. Does it still work, Tom?
What's its relationship to Teak and Scotts Bluff?
Yeah.
Alaska teaches you everything. It's my heart. It's my soul. It all begins and ends.
Any of you guys got any ideas on this, on what this is?
Push past the fear.
What the music is? Or the song? I
No,
don't-
not what the music is, what the pictures are, Andy.
That's the stereo that was in our room.
That's the stereo.
Yeah, you're right. That's the
In
stereo.
other words,
I
this
still have it.
We had to move it out
Yeah.
of the room to have a
you open up-
party.
you move this candle in the center. Here, let me make this bigger just so you can see it.
With 100% vitamin C. Tropicana.
You move that candle on the top, the top opens up, and there's the stereo, the record player, the
Yeah,
radio.
I'm sure.
Probably still there.
Yeah, I'm still here. I think some of the records in there are original from the house.
Right.
Yeah, I still have it. I got it at, when the house was closing down, after the school closed, we had an auction. And we auctioned off the property that was still left in the house.
Really?
I went ahead and bought the stereo. Now I still have it. I've kept it. These old things are like a piece of furniture. It's all wood. It still plays, So yeah, a little bit of memorabilia.
Well, vinyl's coming back, so.
If those
Yeah.
are original records in there, they're probably worth more than the stereo.
You
Well,
probably,
Tom, where did
Be
you have to
surprised.
transport that to?
You think so? but
I'm
they're
sorry.
not.
Where did you have to bring that unit to? After you bought it?
20% off all manufacturers. Order online for a limited time. So hurry and take advantage of these low prices. I mean, high prices, which means low prices. You can
I can't hear you. You got some other,
check out this.
Yeah, you have to turn that off, whatever that is.
After you bought that stereo, did you have to bring it home somewhere?
oh, yeah. Yeah, it's gone with me from
Sure.
probably 3 or 4
Me to
residences.
screw
I
it up
move it
here.
each time, yeah.
Wow.
So,
I don't even remember that in the house.
maybe one of you guys can fill me in, Andy. It was bought, one of the brothers sold this
Yeah,
to the
this
house,
around
and I
here.
can't remember his name. House when
I don't remember either. I just remember every time we had the party, we had to take the thing out of the room because everybody was drinking beer and sliding all over the floor. Most of the time.
I think there's still some beer stains inside.
I don't doubt it. Because it hasn't shorted out.
Right. No, well, it still works now,
Well, click on the one, click on the wagon to the right. I want to see that.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys, as we get through this, if you've got some pictures, Tom sent me these this morning and I put them in, send me some pictures for the next one and we'll add them in for next time for memories.
Okay,
Anybody know what this is?
no idea.
Yes, it's a map of,
Looks like the United States with a whole bunch of things on it.
Yeah, it was a graphic representation of the internet in 1995.
probably can't see anything now.
Now, if you put it in, you couldn't even see it. It'd just be solid.
Yeah. The first computers.
All right, now here's one. These are two animals.
Yes, one of them's a giraffe.
Anybody know what they are?
Ostrich.
No, it's not a giraffe.
Ostrich.
No, not an ostrich.
What's the one with the six head in the ground? The one that's ostrich.
No.
Ostrich.
Emu.
Emus, yeah, they're emus.
Can you see them?
They actually look like bones, a little bit like a bone or something.
They do
Actually-
look like bones.
Is it an emu? No, it's not. It's an ostrich.
A marsh is
Actually,
handling.
what they are,
Earth sticks.
What?
horseshoe crab. These are the tails out of horseshoe crabs.
Okay.
That's
No.
not bad.
I thought that was kind of cool. They look just like, ostriches or something.
They do.
Like an ostrich or an emu.
All it is the tail. This is now where John comes in. John, you there?
Yeah, it's me.
All right.
The John Wayne movie, I bet.
Raoul
Yep.
Walsh's The Big Trail.
Gotta be John Wayne.
Yeah, it's John Wayne movie.
Well, what do you know about it though?
That one I don't know. Is that the first one he made?
Well, let me get up here.
Let's see,
All
1953?
right, here it is. 1930.
No, 1930?
Yep, 1930. It was his first leading role. But one of the interesting things about it is who was in it. And if I bring this up, this was the cast. And I noticed something in it. Here's Tyrone Power Sr.
Huh.
And here's Tyrone Power. And Richard Widmark.
Wow.
The people that were in that film. And, when it is,
That's 63, 53.
53.
Yeah, 30, I thought so.
And yes, this is on YouTube. If you go on YouTube and search for it, it's there. And what's amazing about it is some of the videos or some of the footage in it and so forth that they had. Remember, there was no CGI, any of that kind of, stuff. And in some of these, they had, that's John Wayne. They had
Little
people,
young.
taking cabins down.
I
If
saw
you're a
him
John
in
Wayne
West
fan, you need to go back and watch this.
Oh, he kissed the wrong one.
They'd be arrested for doing that now.
You know, Dad, that's called assault.
Yeah.
Isn't it out in Scotts Bluff?
I was looking for one particular scene, but when they were crossing these rivers and the cattle floating away and the wagons, they were actually doing that.
Was it the North Platte?
Dragging the wagons across. Nowadays, that'd all be CGI. They had one where they were taking it down cliffs. So if you want to enjoy it, it's on YouTube, and just look for The Big Trail for John Wayne movies.
I'm sure Sokola will.
And every little bit it would stop and tell you, about something, and then it would continue on, and with ads in it. It's 2 hours and 22 minutes.
Wow.
Hey,
So,
Val, you're
just-
drinking water, I'm drinking wine.
Yeah,
I think the wine's better.
and then let's see. There's another one here. If anybody knows.
What the hell is this?
That's his emails. That's his emails.
Oh,
Can't read them. Too bad, Peter.
If anybody knows what this is. It doesn't like me doing it.
Is that an eclipse?
Yep. This was the lunar eclipse. I took this outside,
I've got some images of that too.
as it went through.
I got a few of those too. I used to belong to the Temecula Valley Astronomers. Actually, I was vice president one year. And these guys come out with their little, there's no such thing as little. They come out, they have to put it in a freaking pickup truck, these things. Telescope, some of them are 10, 12 feet high, and then they have like 8 inches around, and I mean they're huge. All electronic now. You just put what star you want to see, press the button that goes right to it.
Yeah, well, that was just me holding up my video camera.
You're very lucky.
So
That's a pretty easy one to find, though.
in the email that I sent out, I said there was one thing that I called it AYFN. Does anybody know what AYFN is?
not a clue.
Well, AYFN stands for Are You Friggin' Nuts?
Ah,
The reason I put that in, come on, is I decided I didn't have enough to do. I'm on 2 or 3 committees and boards here in the community and so forth, but I didn't have enough to do. So when a group of people came to me about 4 weeks ago, they asked me to run for the Board of Education. So I am running for the Board of Education in Barnegat.
wow.
Okay, congratulations.
Congratulations, sir.
So,
Is this girl running against you?
no, she's running with me.
Oh, okay.
Actually, trained.
Is it compensated?
They're just
She's a lot easier on the eyes, I'll tell you that.
She has a lot more hair too.
Hey, Morris, is it compensated?
Yeah, well, that was the balance.
A lot more hair, I like that. That
That
was
was the
good.
balance. So.
Morris,
To get involved.
Morris,
Yeah.
is it compensated?
No,
No, Andy,
you get the, as you might expect, when you go to discuss things like the curriculum and New Jersey's implementing sex ed in some of the lower grades, you get lots of compliments from people.
Yeah.
At
You
board
get people patting you on the back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, at the local steakhouse.
So
Send us all absentee ballots. We'll get you elected.
there you go. I'll have to, listen, just send me your down payment so I can show you live here.
Ah,
I'll be sure to return it at some point.
I know a guy that takes care of voting machines.
Yeah, Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here.
I am sure everyone remembers O'Reilly. Is that right?
Remembers what?
O'Reilly.
Yes.
O'Leary, I'm sorry, O'Leary.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, O'Leary.
You remember him?
Yep.
One day I'm standing outside the fraternity house. I don't know if any of you guys were there. And somehow he opens up the trunk of his car because he shot a bird. And he thought the bird was dead, except that it was an American bald-headed eagle who flies out of his trunk.
Thank God.
I'll never forget that.
I would say not. Lucky he didn't kill. If he got caught killing it, it'd be
Oh,
big
yeah,
trouble.
you go to jail for that one, I think.
You know, or certainly fined big time.
Oh, right, O'Leary he was interesting.
Yeah.
Did everybody have a gun that went to Nebraska or in Nebraska? Do you all have, I mean, I'm curious. I still have one, but
I never had one.
yeah.
I did go jackrabbit hunting with the guys because the farmers used to pay us. But I couldn't hit the side of a barn with anything, so wouldn't do me any good.
I gave mine away when I moved to New Jersey.
It may have been one night when me and Flynn went out to try and get coyotes in the dark. A whole other story. But I used to go hunting white wing down in South Texas, down in McAllen on the Rio Grande, back when I lived back there back in the 70s. And that was quite an experience. You can't shoot a female, and you have to leave the wing on, because when you drive back, and Tom knows this, when you drive back, if they stop you and they ask to see your birds you got, and if you have a wing taken off, you can't tell whether it's a female or a male, you can get fined or go to jail depending upon the number. You know about that, Tom? You familiar with that?
Oh, yeah.
Because white wings are big.
Here you have to leave the feet on or the head. But
They said we had to have the wing. We had to have the wing on. That's what I remember.
did you? Yeah. Did you leave your wings on, and were you ever stopped, and were you in?
No, but the idiot I was with took him off, and he got fined. What an idiot he was.
You don't know his name?
I know his name. He passed away because he was an idiot. He got drunk and fell off a bridge one night in the Rio Grande River. And it's very sad because he was a real nice guy. But he actually had one of the first plane, little what do you call them? Sailplane, not a sailplane, but has a motor behind it. Looks like a big fan. What were they called? The
Helicopter? Helicopter?
No, this is similar. No, it wasn't a helicopter. It was like a big fan on wheels and had wings, and it would take off. What the hell is it called? Anyway, he had me. I wouldn't go up with. You can't go up. There's only one passenger. I was there one night when he crashed in Mission, Texas, and I haven't seen any more. But he used to have. He was a big Jaguar fan and wanted to buy Jaguars, and great guy, but unfortunately not real bright.
I'll never forget when you took me up, Andy. We had some fun.
Yeah, John. Every time, John, I said, John, you want to float? And and he said, what are you talking about? And of course, if you nose the plane up, and then if you push it down fairly quickly, everything you're defying gravity, and you're going faster than gravity, and anything in your hands, like a toothpaste tube, John, would float up in the air.
Well, the toothpaste tube was in the 396 that came back and hit me in the face.
I said, it's pretty fast, John. Watch out, it may fly off the dashboard. Boom. Yeah, it was experience.
But we flew over the house that day.
Yeah, we flew over anywhere. I could fly anywhere I wanted in Scotts
Yeah.
Bluff, pretty much. My instructor just passed away about a year ago when I was reading the paper. Somewhere about. You
Who's
remember
your
who?
instructor, Andy?
What was his name?
Yeah, do you remember?
I don't remember. I can't find my logbook. It bothers me a lot. I remember what he looked like, but I don't remember his name. But you can find it if you look it up in the Star Herald or something. I'm sure there's an article on it.
I didn't remember you flying, Andy.
I haven't flown in years, but I started flying in 1970 when I graduated. But I flew for several years, and when I moved to California, I decided I thought I would go up, in the uncrowded Los Angeles area. Just bullshit. And they had me said, why don't we go to John Wayne Airport? And it's the biggest airport south of Los Angeles until you get to San Diego. And they had me out there, and they said, well, let's go out and fly. And we have what they call a heavy, anything over the big commercial jets. You're sitting on the runway, and they go, okay, whatever my number was, you take off behind that 737 in front of you. And if you know anything about flying, when planes fly, they have vortices that come off the back of their wings. And if you're a small plane, you get caught in that wind, flip you over. Fortunately, it didn't happen to me, but I didn't like to be like number 12 or 13 to land behind a 737. And so I gave it up flying in Orange County.
You should have got a bigger plane.
Right?
You should have just gotten a bigger plane.
Yeah, get a bigger plane. That's right. I know people who've had pretty good sizes jets, but I've never. Do you remember Vic Wheel? Anybody there remember Vic Wheel?
Vic Weil.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, well, he became a commercial pilot. He flew
he
all
flew for
over
years.
the world. All over the
He
world.
flew for a
Is
long
he
time.
still around?
Yeah.
How about Sky? Anybody remember Sky Quinn?
Do I remember Sky Twin when we used to fly to Wyoming to get
The Coors Beer Run.
Coors Beer, yep. We'd fly to Wyoming, land in Torrington. They closed the Torrington station there down, and the guy would drive us into town. We pick up 2 cases. That's all we could handle was the weight, and 3 cases of Coors Light, and we would put it in the plane and fly back over Little Moon Lake all the way back into Scotts Bluff and bring it to the fraternity.
I don't remember that.
Oh, I remember it like it happened yesterday. And he's crazy. He's been flying like 100 feet above the ground.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes.
He used to dive bomb and drop shit out the plane at the farmers there.
Yeah, he also wanted to hunt coyotes. He was the guy he was definitely off the wall. He wanted to hunt coyotes.
Talking about Roger May.
Open up the plane and shoot.
Andy, are you talking about Roger May?
No. It was nuts.
Oh,
I never did that because he was a pilot. We were the only 2 pilots that I knew about there.
Do you remember when they dropped the-
I'm sorry?
You ever fly with Vic?
No, I never flew with Vic. I don't think he was flying when I left. Was he? Was he
Yeah,
flying?
he's flying.
He was
he's-
flying there? No, I never.
Yeah, he used to deliver the mail.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't know that. But my parents got, back then you could get $5, give them $5 and they take you up for half an hour and they see if you, get you hooked. And I did. My parents said, what do you want for a graduation present? And I said, why not? So I said, yeah, give me a series of of lessons. And I completed it before I left Scotts Bluff. Still have my license. It's still actually renewed. It now comes in a beautiful plastic credit card type with picture on it. But I haven't renewed my medical, and because of my Dunlap's disease, I probably couldn't get it renewed because Dunlap's disease can really. You're familiar with Dunlap's disease?
yeah.
And my belly Dunlaps over my belt.
Andy, do you remember when they dropped all the leaflets out of the plane when it was a election going on for the school.
No,
And the wind took them. I think they took them all downtown. They were supposed to drop them all over the campus. I think
No,
it was Sky Quinn. Yeah, Sky Quinn went up.
well, he would have done that. He would have done that in a heartbeat.
And when he dropped all the leaflets out, they all blew over Scotts Bluff down in the city. The wind took them.
Probably
Never,
got.
none of
got
them came
trouble.
to the school.
Did he get in trouble? Probably did. Back then, they were,
There was slight repercussions, but they blew it off back then.
no pun intended.
I have a question. Who is X-Man?
You're
X-Man,
looking
who
at
are you? What?
You're looking at him. That's my.
I know.
that's
What's your name?
Francis X Hoover. X is
Oh,
X.
okay.
Oh, the X is for that. I don't know what that's for.
Actually, that's really my middle name. X is right on my birth certificate.
Okay.
No,
Hey, you
I
guys
don't
don't.
think my parents didn't really know who the hell I was, but that's so they put X there.
Hey, Hoover, you still work doing construction on road construction. At what, 70 something? What are you, 69?
73.
73, and you're still doing road construction.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, but you're not pushing dozers anymore.
Hey,
I
Bob,
didn't
do
hear
you
you.
remember, Bob Stebbins, do you remember when we all went to the Playboy Club in Chicago?
I remember going with Dave Brock and Bob Luff. I don't remember going. Denise told me
You
that.
took us, it was, I forget who was there, I think Herzog was there, and you took us up to the Playboy Club. It was the most interesting experience of my young life. Seeing those women hanging out of everything.
Literally, it's a fun place.
The thing I remember is the first time I saw all those women with those long legs and those bunnies, and we're playing bumper pool with them down in the bottom. So that was that was the first time I was in Chicago, and I remember it. I still have a picture of that bunny and me shooting pool.
I've got that somewhere. I'm trying to think. There was one guy I can't remember, a real tall guy with glasses, standing in that picture to the right. And Herb was there.
Herb Mignon.
Yeah.
Wow.
If I remember correctly, we went to the hockey game too.
Where?
We went to the hockey game.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that.
Did anybody here besides me go to Frontier Days?
We stopped in Chicago, and Stebbins took us to the Playboy Club. Herzog was beating the shit out of me the whole drive up. And I forget who else was there. It was an interesting trip.
Well, Denise was there and they wanted her to be a bunny.
Uh-huh. It was an interesting ride. I forget why we drove. I think we couldn't get a plane ride or something. I don't know. I think we couldn't get on a plane or whatever was going on.
So who with us went to Frontier Days? Frontier Days.
What's that?
Did you ever go to Frontier Days?
No, of course.
Over in Cheyenne.
Yeah, Herzog and I went there. I got so drunk, we ended up in the middle of the rodeo grounds, parking our car, and they woke us up. Yeah.
Well, I remember
walking in the Bluebird Cafe and going up to a bar, and I don't know if Danny was with us or but anyway, these people start pulling out these guns and shooting because we were on the floor. We thought there was real guns, you know?
Yeah, they were blanks.
They were shooting those blanks, scared the living crap out of me.
When I was sitting at the bar, they were in with a horse, and they were shooting blanks up in the air. It scared the shit out of me.
when I walked into the Bluebird, the first time in my life, being a New Yorker, and they go to me, you have to park your, leave your guns at the door. You can't bring them in. And I looked at him and I said, "Are you kidding me? Allow guns that you can carry guns? Oh yeah, anybody can carry a gun. Just leave it at the door." That was a real rude awakening.
Eye opener.
Yeah, a real opening. eye-opening.
I was at Frontier Days this year, and it's a lot milder. It's still pretty wild, but it's nothing like it used to be. I'll tell you, it was the wildest time I ever had when I went. But it's still pretty big. Oh, it's actually bigger, but it's not quite as wild as it was.
I'm sure, you know, I was there when I couldn't believe of all the groups that was on the parade, the Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs. Like that's related to country western, right? Not at all. But I remember them going down on a float down the middle of whatever the street that was in Cheyenne. It was
Dan, are you still up in Wyoming?
Sure, Cheyenne. It was I'm sorry?
I still have
Yeah,
some
hey,
pictures.
Dan, is Dan still up in Wyoming?
I'm sorry, what?
Are you still in Wyoming?
Oh, no. I spent a month in Colorado and Wyoming, and when I was up there, I was playing golf in Cheyenne, Wyoming with a banker, and he had tickets to the Cheyenne Frontier Days that afternoon. So he took me to the Frontier Days. Then we went downtown, and like I said, it was wild, but he told me he lives there, and he said it's not as wild as it was when he was a youth.
My
And
God.
I don't know, he's probably in his mid-50s, so, you know, and I told him that was one of the wildest times I ever had. And I don't know.
How many of you went to? How many of you went to college at Fort Collins?
Did you go with us when there was Ron, me, Marachi, Carl Laws, Andy Adleys? Were you with us when we went?
Yeah, that old beat up station wagon.
Who was the one shooting out the traffic lights? We had one of those because I was standing next to him. And then he got picked up he was drunk, and there was another guy drunk, and he got picked up, and short of being molested or something, they were driving him around Cheyenne, and I don't remember much about it, but I do remember that incident.
I think Val, I think Val and me and a couple other ball players, we went to college days down in Fort Collins. Do you remember that, Val?
I remember vaguely.
Yeah, we all got arrested. That's how I remember that real quick.
I bet.
Yeah, they charged us $5 a head to get out. So
what'd you get arrested for?
Well, I'll give you two guesses, and first one doesn't count. Drunk and disorderly.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'd like to say Hiram Scott saved my life. It was the best experience I ever had. And
a couple of people said that. A
lot of other people, Peter.
It was my first experience at any level of educational, what would you want to call it, success? And I enjoyed my whole experience there.
Yeah,
I truly enjoyed this.
I did too. I did too. It was a good time. I was a city boy, going out to the rural area. It was fun.
Yeah. We used to buy fireworks up in Wyoming.
Well, most of us were from what, New Jersey or New York or wherever. Heading out there was like the middle of nowhere. When I landed that plane at midnight, I'll never forget it. I'm wondering where the heck I am. It was the middle of nowhere. I asked for a soda and got something with a scoop of ice cream in it. It was the funniest thing in my life.
I took a cab from the airport down to that old hotel where you stayed in, and across the street was that little bar. I went in there to get a beer, and I looked around, and there was peanut shells and sawdust all over the place. And I said, back east, we couldn't do that. It was just a health.
No.
He says, we have that to soak up the blood and beer when the fight starts. And no more than 15 minutes later, a damn fight broke out. And, it was like all friendship.
It was a total unique experience to me coming from the Bronx.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that Buddy Bar that you went to? Was that Buddy Bar?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Buddy Bar.
Campton Bar or something?
I went to Shops. I wasn't a drinker, but I went to Shops. I went to Shops with Marv Stomer. And Marv Stomer said to me, "Hey, Andy, want to have a beer?" And Marv was most people know he's had an alcohol problem. And she said, you want to have a beer? I said, oh yeah, sure, I'll have a beer. And I wasn't a big drinker then. He goes, and he takes the beer and he puts it on the table, and then he says, give me a shot glass full of tomato juice. Okay. And the bartender gives it to him, and he drops it into the middle of the beer and starts drinking. It's called a depth charge. And you remember? Do anybody remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, one thing actually, Bloody Mary's what they called a Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They called it a red beer.
Red beer.
It's a red
Red
beer.
beer, yeah.
And he also did it with regular alcohol, like scotch. He'll take I told you he had a problem, and he would sit there, maybe one of that, and then drop scotch and drop it right in there. And the depth charge, and it would just ooze out of the shot glass and contaminate the entire beer.
I never knew when I got out to Nebraska that beer was alcohol. My father used to send me up to the grocery store to buy it. Yeah, and then I ended up at that lake. What was that lake called?
Like Mentor.
Yeah,
Minutair.
And I get drunk on beer, and Herzog throws me out of the car into the stickers in the field. And I'm stuck with stickers, and I'm drunk as shit. I'll never
I
forget
remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, and Barry and I, my cousin, we first got on a plane in Philadelphia to go out there. He's sitting next to me, turns to me and says, how in the hell did you ever talk me into this? Then we get to Denver and we get on Frontier, and I'll never forget it. There was a priest sitting across the aisle from him, and I was by the window. And he turns to me, he says, you think this guy knows something that we don't?
If he got his prayer book in his hand, he probably did.
Then we got to the dorm out at what is it?
Hall?
Dinner.
Dinner hall.
Dinner, yeah.
And we're in the cafeteria that night. And all of a sudden I hear, Jonesy. I said, oh shit, that's Ed Parker. Because he and I were roommates at our first school.
Really?
Really?
And
Did you go to Parsons?
what's that?
Did you go to Parsons?
No. But we just, when I heard it, I knew it was Parker.
He was a good man.
I said, what are you doing here? And it was fun. It was fun.
Ed was a good man.
Yeah.
He passed away. They have a memorial for him down at the fire company in Tuckerton.
Yep.
Fire.
Gary, that fire department got disbanded.
Did it?
Yeah.
It was real controversial. They shut it down. They said too many funny things going on, and they weren't reacting fast enough. So they had a room in the back for Ed, memorial to him. I don't know what happened to all of it, but they shut that fire department down. The town did.
Wow.
Wasn't Ed Parker our first president of the fraternity?
No.
I could look it up, but
I thought he was.
I think RJ was the first president, and I was second, and then I think Bob Barrett came after me.
yeah,
We were sitting there talking about all the crazy times we did, but when I graduated and went into my profession, and I had to compete against people in New York and Chicago, and I feel I got a better education than they had.
Oh, sure.
Because I'm proud of the education I got from Hiram Scott.
we had great instructors. We truly did. We had a lot of fun, and more than maybe we should have at times, but we did.
I remember fireside chats with the economics teacher. Fireside chats.
We used to be able to ride horses.
Henderson.
Fireside.
Dr. Henderson was a
hero.
Does anybody remember the guy that taught test and measurements? He had glasses. Well, anyway, he knew I hunted. He told me one day, what was his name?
Bacchus.
Yeah, his son went to school there. He's told me, he says, if I get a 2-bagger today, you definitely have a C. Damn it, I made sure he got those 2 ducks that weekend. So,
Does anybody remember a guy named Francis O'Dinick? He was a member of another fraternity, but he was close to me because I got to learn business law with Johnny Williams. And about 2 weeks ago, I get a phone call from Fran O'Dinick. He's in San Diego and he's going to a wedding and he wants to know if we can get together. And I haven't seen him in 50 years, like most of you guys, except for Sola and Tom. But I met him in San Diego. We had lunch and it was a nice meeting. He gave me a book from Tony Mariacho, who wrote the story of Hiram Scott College, why and what for and everything. And he mimeographed. I mean, he copied him. The thing is probably weighs probably 8 or 10 pounds. He handed it to me, said, here, read this. And I started getting into it, how Tony had met up with the people from Parsons College, and Parsons was directly involved with the development of Hiram Scott. I haven't gone much further than that, but I found that to be kind of interesting. I knew that they were quote unquote competitive. I didn't know that they were actually on the board.
Anybody else remember Jenkins and Samuels? The two.
I remember Jenkins, Mr. Jenkins. Yeah, Mr. Jenkins.
Oh, God, he was. Herzog loved him, but he was so difficult for me. And I remember Samuels, the Indian teacher.
yeah. What about Mr. Robinson?
I remember him.
Yeah, taught
He was
zoology.
the only one dumb enough to give me an A.
Yeah, he was a character, I tell you.
Who was the music teacher? Mr. I heard the name of the G. What was his name? The music teacher.
What do you say, Andy?
Who was the music teacher? Mr. I want to say, with a G, Italian name. I just read that he had passed away within the last few years.
I'm sure they're all dead by now.
There was a woman there named Mary Jane or something. She was an instructor for something. I don't remember what.
Mary, I got that down in Old Town.
Yeah, but after Rosemary and I decided to get married, I didn't care what, she was a Catholic and I didn't care what I was. So I went to the classes to convert and for about 6 weeks. And he was a cool guy. I never did learn Hail Marys or anything that way. But about 3 weeks after we finished, he quit the priesthood and got married to her.
Well, I don't know. You guys,
we all turned out well.
the guys, Coach Zimmer just passed away and Coach Fisher just passed away.
You all know that Barry just passed away. Barry.
Yeah. Were you there, Gary?
Yeah, I wasn't there when he passed. He was down the shore at his home, and his wife gave me a call about 15 minutes after he passed away. He was blind. He had cancer. He fought. I'll tell you, he never, ever complained. He thought a lot of the fraternity. He didn't want me to say anything about his illness when we're having Zoom and people would ask how he was doing. I said something one time and he said to me, he said, please don't. He said, I don't want to be people to think whatever.
A downer.
And so he passed away, and Morris and Rose and
Dan
Blades came down for his going. He was cremated.
I didn't know that. I didn't know about it, so I'm sad. I mean, Barry was a good man.
Yeah, and he has a son and grandkids. He has a daughter and another daughter, and they're a wonderful family. But it's unfortunate that it's close. We're first cousins. Our mothers were sisters, and It's a shame that we didn't, you lose touch even in a family.
It's easy to do.
And, you know, it was only in the last couple of years he was getting sicker because he did have cancer for about 7 years.
Wow.
And he went blind. He was totally blind.
Luck of the draw.
But he and I'd take a hoagie down where he lived and would have lunch and just sit there and talk about Hiram Scott and some of the crazy things that we did down the shore when we were younger, because that's where we basically grew up in the summer, Ocean City. And, you know, it was, he's in a little, I think, a better place now. I mean, he did everything he could. He was gracious. It was a lot of fun.
Did you guys grow up together?
Yeah, he grew up in Laurel Springs.
Right.
That's where his mother, my mother, and our aunts and uncles all grew up in Laurel Springs. I grew up in Magnolia, which was about 3 or 4 miles away. And yeah, going down the shore, his parents had a big house down the shore, and they would pick me up in every Friday, and we would go down to Ocean City, spend the weekend, and I'd be with him, and we were playing. Then every Monday night we'd come home because my uncle would take every Monday off instead of a 2-week vacation. And we grew up together, yeah. And
Nice.
then,
Nice. Good memory.
oh, phenomenal. We didn't go to high school together. He went to Collingswood. I went eventually to Sterling when it was built, Sterling High School in Summerdale. But yeah, we had a good time.
So how did you end up at Hiram Scott?
How did I?
Yeah.
Well, I went to Ryder College, right up the street from.
I know where Ryder is.
Yeah, up in Trenton.
Yeah, sure.
And I was not mature enough to go to college, and I wiped out.
I resemble that remark.
Yeah,
Didn't we all?
All of us do.
Yeah, didn't we all? Isn't that right, Bob?
I forget how it was that I heard about this recruiter coming to my area, to the high school or something. And I talked Barry into coming down because he was only a couple miles away. My mother, his mother, and her name was Margaret. And we saw it. We said, this seems pretty good, because he got bounced out of his school for drilling holes in the he stayed in the dormitory. I think they drilled holes in the flooring to look down into the girls' bathroom or something.
Was it what, Skinner Hall or the?
No.
What dorm?
Somewhere else.
He was
somewhere else. I'm gonna say
Millersville College.
No, because we did that at Skinner Hall, but we did that to hide the marijuana.
Right.
Not me.
But no, so we both, that's why I said when we got on, how the hell did you talk me into this? I had no idea.
You know, somebody had mentioned Parsons College. I
Yeah.
heard about Hiram Scott from John Textra. He had flunked out just like I did and the rest of us. And he applied to Parsons. And Parsons sent in an application for Hiram Scott.
Yeah, that's that. If you read this manuscript, was basically what it is about how about.
I'll be right back.
I hear there's a lot of things going on about the money that was being made, the write-offs they were getting. I mean, Hiram Scott was not made out of love and devotion. They were in for the money, no question about it. Yeah, so I never tell you I got a check from Hiram Scott while I was there. My dad called me one day and he said, "We have a check for like $125." And I said, "What's that for?" He goes, "It's your scholarship." And I said, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah." He says, says you were a photographer on the yearbook, and they gave $125 scholarships, which was significant back then. And I got one here. What should I do with it? Send it. Send
I
it.
still, you know, I still have my original first year tuition. I think it was $1,585. And I remember I was failing everywhere. I had no interest in school until I got that letter from the government that wanted to send me to Vietnam. And I thought that was not a good alternative. My mother took me down to the Waldorf Astoria, and they recruited me into Hiram Scott.
Wow.
It seemed like a better alternative than the rice paddies in Vietnam.
Hey,
Well, how
Peter,
many of you guys, Hiram Scott was your first college?
This is my second.
It was my first.
Hiram Scott was our first
Uh,
college?
First bites?
Oh, no.
That was my first, if you don't count junior college, but yeah, it was my first.
it was my first, definitely.
I went to Colorado State and I was asked to leave. And so I ended up
Was there a bus outside your door?
yeah, there was a ticket there. You're out of here, pal. So
Hey,
I-
Peter,
If you guys
Well,
remember,
they asked me to leave high school, so, you know.
Peter, I thought that you were from Queens.
Who?
You.
I was from the Bronx.
I didn't know that. Where in the Bronx?
I grew up in Stratford Avenue on the south side near Westchester Avenue. And I happened to unfortunately knock a teacher down the staircase and they asked me to leave.
Well, my dad went to DeWitt Clinton, and his whole family lived up by
Oh, I
Heights.
know what DeWitt Clinton was.
Yeah, so I
That
think
was an all-boys school then.
it used to be. I don't think it is anymore.
I have
And-
no idea.
And my dad went, and my grandfather was a judge in the Bronx and became a New York State senator. And he was actually in Albany for a couple of years. Until
We
he
didn't
decided,
have, my father was a sanitation worker. We didn't have state senators.
you got a clean getaway, I can tell you that. So
Pete, you mentioned it was $1,500 for your first year. I don't know whether you knew it or not. That was the most expensive college in Nebraska.
No.
You could go- The first year in 64, 65, I went to University of Nebraska. Room, board, and tuition for the entire year for $950.
God.
And then
I
after
was
they
going-
said I could leave, I went to Hiram Scott, and it was $1,000 a semester. I don't know, something that way.
I
But it
was getting robbed.
It was more expensive than the university.
But
Yeah.
they always had quality educators. I mean,
yeah.
Stromer.
Stormer was an interesting man, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And
Who was Hickok, or who was the guy who was the very well-known history teacher? He wrote books and everything.
Manly.
Who was a biologist?
Manly, yeah.
Who was a biologist that he sent the moon rocks to? And they were on
Olson.
display? Who was it?
Olson.
Yeah, they had him displayed in his office. I remember that.
Yeah.
you guys remember Mrs. Shields? She taught
Yeah, oh, yeah.
drama. Oh, she was beautiful. And her husband was a recruiter for Hiram Scott.
Yeah.
Boy,
She's the one that married the priest.
No,
married a priest?
no, she was married to a recruiter.
Who-
Pretty
who
blonde.
You know, they got
Who was
divorced.
Who was the woman
Oh, well,
that was the
maybe.
French teacher?
I don't
Remember
remember
the
that.
French teacher?
No, I remember the French teacher. I had to take French with her. It was a fiasco.
Yeah, she told me after the second day of class, she says, you better cancel this class because you're gonna fail.
all
Look
right,
at that.
all right, guys. Who is it? Frank Tate. He was humanities.
I had Manly.
Oh, yeah.
You remember
Manly.
Reynolds?
Yeah.
Mrs. Schmidt?
You've got a yearbook. I got three
Wait a
of them.
minute.
That's a female.
I gotta tell you a funny story about the humanities teacher.
Here's the yearbook for 66. It
I
has
don't remember that.
all the names.
You remember every time he'd make a quote, he'd put his fingers up and go, quote, quote, and then he would do the quote and do his fingers again. Well, Paul Trick and I ran a numbers game on how many times he would do that in a class session. And we used to clean up. I mean, nickel or dime a head. And
If you
I
wanted
can't
to
remember
know,
his name.
the first guy was Hickar, who was science.
Oh,
Yeah,
I remember Hickar.
You had Kelm, Nelson Kelm.
I don't have
I
66.
don't remember him.
I have 67. I have.
There's Kelm right there.
Can't say I remember him.
You had math, which was skeletons. Never heard of him. Alaska, Miss. Yeah, history.
Or what about Beisner? Remember Beisner? He taught economics.
Yeah, that one I remember. And I remember Henderson.
Music was Marvin Genish.
I
Genish
remember him.
and Mrs. Shields, Lynn Shields, Mary Lynn Shields. And her husband was at that, he did something there.
he was a recruiter.
He's a critter, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
You know,
got-
Were any of you guys ever in the club?
Administration, he was, Roy Shields, a BA from Parsons College.
Yeah.
So,
You know, Pete, you mentioned what it was like when you got there to college. Rosemary graduated in '68, and her father and sister, one of her sisters, came out for her graduation. They had never been out there. And the first two things he said to me was, if I had known what this place looked like, we'd have never sent her out here. Number two, he then said, you know, back east, Westerners aren't quite socially acceptable.
Oh,
So I smiled and I said, well, I understand completely. I said, oftentimes people in the West think Easterners are rude and arrogant and nasty. Long after that, we never had a problem again.
Hey, guys, it's 93 degrees now outside. 3 hours ago, they cut the power off here, so we can't have air conditioning. They have a way of doing that. And it's now starting to get real hot in this house, and they're gonna, it's gonna be about another 2 or 3 hours. They're not gonna turn it back on because California's got a major problem with electricity, and they're doing what they call rolling
I
brown,
heard that.
rolling brown.
Going blackouts, yeah.
Hey,
I heard you can't even charge your electric cars.
hey, Andy,
Yeah, there's a fallacy.
Andy, I have a solution for you.
Move.
Move to Florida.
Yeah, that's what I need, so I can wring the air out, drink water. I have bad memories of Florida in August, actually.
Have you had any of those, Dan?
You mean it's better there in the desert?
The high today was 88. And,
Yeah.
Dan, you've been getting some hot weather down there in Texas. Have you been
Oh,
getting?
yeah, we had record-breaking 100-degree weather, but the worst part was we had 67 days without any rain, and 40 some of those were over 100 degrees, so it just burned everything up. Farmers and ranchers were selling off their cattle and just plowing up their fields because they couldn't feed them, they couldn't grow anything. It was bad. Now it's been better the last couple of weeks. We got some nice rain, but we're still in a drought status as far as the lakes and everything go, but it was really bad.
What city do you live in?
What part of Texas?
I live north of Dallas. I live in a place called Frisco, Texas. It's north of Dallas.
I've heard of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm headed to Fort Worth on Monday.
What's that?
I said I'm headed to Fort Worth on Monday.
Are you really? You gonna have any time to get together? You gonna be there for the night or just the day or what?
A few days.
Well, let me get in touch with me. I'll drive over and we have dinner or something.
You know, I
It's
lived
about
in,
45. It's about a 45-minute drive from where I'm at.
Dan, how did you end up in Texas?
Well, it's a long story. I got out of school. I got college. I was teaching school in Nebraska, and I got drafted. And I left my draft board in New York, and they didn't exempt me because I was teaching in Nebraska. So I got an extension. But anyway, I ended up in the service. And when I was in the service, I worked with or was with a bunch of guys, my CO, my XO, my first sergeant. They were all from Texas and they talked me into going to Texas. So I had a connection in San Antonio with somebody on the school board, maybe to get me in a teaching job. And I got there between school years and I started in the business world and I was making more money. I never went back into teaching, but I never left Texas. I don't really like it. It's just my career took off here and it was not worth moving for. So, and now I'm so settled, like
You're not going anywhere.
this is it. This is where
I
I'm
lived
at.
I lived in McAllen for 2 years. You know where McAllen is?
Oh,
fully
yeah. Oh, my
understand. I
gosh.
ended up in Pennsylvania, so I fully get it. I built a life here and friends here and a business here, and it's all good.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep thinking I'm 76 years old. Where should I go next? You know, if I don't go there soon, I'll be dead.
Well, go back to New Jersey and watch the.
No,
your
I'm
Giants.
thinking, my wife said, I asked my wife, I said, I think we should move to Sonoma for 6 months and try it out and see what it's like. She said, okay, let's go. And then I chickened out.
Nice place, Sonoma.
What's that?
It's a very nice place. All the winery areas, all the winery. You know, we have over 30 wineries within 2 miles of 3 miles of my house.
Where are you?
I'm in Temecula, near Temecula, California.
Where's
Huge
that?
wine growing, 30 or 40 wineries.
Really?
Yeah.
That's for you, Dan.
Hey, Dan.
I mean, hold on.
All right.
Dan, have you ever heard of Weatherford, Texas?
Oh, heck yes. That's on the other side of Fort Worth.
Yeah, that's
I've
where
been to
my daughter
Weatherford. Yeah, I know. You mentioned it last
lives.
time.
How
We're
far are you from there?
Probably an hour and 20 minutes, maybe an hour and 30 minutes.
Next time I get out there, I'll let you know.
Yeah, do that, because what we'll do is we'll meet in Fort Worth. You're not too far from Fort Worth. It's about halfway between Fort Worth and where I'm at, or Fort
Okay.
Worth's halfway between Weatherford and here. That'd be great.
You know, I think someday we should all have a real reunion where we all get together. You know,
Get your buddy together, Peter. Get your hotel buddy. Get us some
What's
room.
that?
Get your hotel buddy to get us some room somewhere.
I'm sure I can.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can do that inexpensively. I'm sure it wouldn't be a
Denver,
problem.
is everything in Denver? I wouldn't mind flying into Denver.
Yeah, I do. I have a client, my client owns 3 hotels outside of Denver.
You know, we could rent a car and drive up to Scotts Bluff.
I'd love to, you know, I haven't been there since I graduated. I know Howard Harvey's got to be dead.
But they have the more Oregon Trail days in July. I'm sure it's a little warm, isn't it, Tom? But
It's been warmer than heck all summer here.
Yeah, it's good. You talk about the 100-degree temperatures and no rain. We're living it here, aren't we, Val?
Absolutely. 103 yesterday, 102 the day before. Yeah.
I was in Scotts
you
Bluff
guys are
2
hikers. It was
years ago.
108 yet 2 days ago here. 108 and 109 about
Well,
3 days ago, and it's been like that for 10 days.
Just wait until
It's a
about 4
beautiful
months, it'll be 12
78
below.
degrees here.
I was in Scotts Bluff 3 years ago. You would not recognize the town.
Really?
It's really grown. It's unbelievable.
Still has 30,000 people though.
What's that?
It still only has 30,000 people, right, Tom? About
Yeah, about that.
the only claim to fame is it's got a
Pizza.
It's a modern city. I was amazed.
Yeah, well, they've got a Walmart and they've got a Super Target. I mean, what else do you need?
You're being a little nasty here now.
Does everyone remember Vic's Pizza?
Yeah.
I look for Trucktown. Do you guys ever remember Trucktown?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Trucktown was a staple.
Yeah,
We had to
it's
go
not-
to Trucktown.
Yeah,
It's no longer
we all had breakfast there when we got drunk.
Yeah.
They had the
They tore it
98
down.
cent special.
It's a,
Did
it's
any of you
a
guys,
forest,
any of you guys remember
forest
Paul
place
Traker?
now.
Tom, would you say that again? What?
Remember Paul
I said they
Traker?
just tore the building
course, yeah,
down.
of course.
The truck stop building stood
he
for a
came to
long
my
time.
room.
That sign's still up front, but here about a year or two ago, a landscaping company bought it, and they tore the old actual little restaurant down.
Third stick.
Anyway, Trey could come in my room and he had a trench coat on. He says, come on, we're going to Chucktown and have breakfast on me. I said, okay, I'll go with you. So we went out there and we ordered. He took the trench coat off. He had no clothes on. That really set the house on fire.
I bet.
Sure.
Hey,
He
guys.
was one
Hey,
one
guys.
strange cowboy.
Hey, guys,
Huh?
I'm gonna have to leave you guys. Thanks very much for the entertainment. And hopefully I'll catch you next time, all right?
Nice to see you.
Be safe.
You take care.
Take it easy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Take it easy, little brother. Take it easy, little brother.
Okay, big brother.
Be careful.
Yeah.
I am
See ya.
recording this, so I'll put the video up. I don't know if I'll get it up tomorrow. I've got to drive my granddaughter down to Virginia. She's on a traveling softball team and she's got a tournament down there. And so I'm going to drive her down and for a tournament, but I'll get.
Hey, how's your grandson doing in football?
I did.
Guys, I'm jumping off too. Take care, all right?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna jump out of here too, guys. We'll see you at the next meeting.
All right, Tom, take care.
Nice to see you.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Hey, Sokola,
Yo,
how come you look so fucking young?
That's because you're looking up at his chin. You're not looking down on his.
Oh.
I happen to know he's had cosmetic
You feel
surgery.
like shit, but you look young.
He's got.
I have a good memory. I have a good memory of my first two roommates at Hiram Scott at Skinner Hall. That's Gary Jones and Sev. The three of us first roommates, the very first term.
I can remember you, Bob.
You what?
I can remember that.
Oh, okay. And then
But,
John, I need to tell you something. I heard from Frank Bell yesterday.
yeah,
He lives back to Omaha. He sold his house in Arizona.
he didn't tell me that. I was in touch with him a couple of weeks ago. We were texting back and forth.
Yeah, he told me. He's one of our roommates, Frank Bell, became a principal of Omaha, was a Western High School. The
Yeah,
biggest,
I heard that. John too used to tell me that.
yeah. So anyway, he got a divorce, and I don't know what happened from that point, but I know that.
Oh, he got a divorce?
I believe he's divorced from her. Yeah.
Okay, well, they may as well have. I mean, he used to live in
They haven't been-
Arizona and she lived in Nebraska.
Yeah, they haven't been together, what, for 15 years?
Oh,
I
at
don't know.
least
I
that
don't know if
long.
they got a divorce and he just went back, or he went back to her or whatever. But that was many years ago, so I have to get refreshed on that. But
Yeah.
I like Frank. He was kind of an acronym.
No kidding.
It was right out of,
Weren't we all out there?
yeah. Well, if you were from New York, it would be from anybody who lived there, that's for sure.
I'll tell you, I don't know whether Scotts Bluff was ready for us.
For me, it was.
When we hit the ground.
Yeah.
I don't know how many students there were, maybe 600,
Yeah.
500.
We're immature and weren't ready for school, and it saved us.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Lori,
Saved
We hit
me.
the ground running.
I can only speak for myself. It saved me.
Does anybody at Skinner Hall remember standing out on the west side toward the bluffs and watching a tornado?
Oh, yeah.
no, I remember seeing a haboob, but I never
Oh, I
saw,
remember that.
I never saw anything like that before, but you know.
I remember
a
the
storm,
I remember the sandstorms.
that's a
The
haboob.
fields were plowed and the sand used to come in like 100 miles an hour. I remember that.
In
I
Vanguard,
saw 3 of them at one time.
Hey, Marsh, when you gonna be back from Virginia? I'll give you a
I'll
call.
be back late Saturday night.
Okay. Sometime next week, I'll give you a call.
All right.
Gary, are you in New Jersey still?
Who, me? Yeah, right in Cherry Hill. I'm about
Are you in
7 miles.
Cherry? I used to live in Echelon.
Echelon?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
No.
That's about a 3-mile ride.
I know. I lived in Echelon and then I was living with some lady in Cherry Hill for about 4 or 5 years. And then I decided it was time to escape.
When you were working for Continental, or what was it? What was the name of this company you were with? Being with a C, Peter?
No, I started my own company then.
But no, Pete, what is it, 7 miles from Philadelphia?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, something.
I used to work in downtown Philly on Walnut Street. I used to have that pass to go over the Whitman Bridge or whatever that, the Ben Franklin.
Ben Franklin, Walt Whitman.
Yeah, the same thing, man.
Yeah,
I almost got killed on that little strip of highway from the Walt Whitman to the Ben Franklin when in a snowstorm.
yeah.
My car did a complete 180 and a tractor trailer took my side view mirror off.
Ah,
I peed my pants at the same time.
Hey, Pete, you were lucky to escape that young lady.
I was. You remember her?
Oh, yeah, she was a trip.
Yeah, she was.
whereabouts whereabouts did you live?
I lived in the Echelon Apartments for a little while, and then I lived off Crossbridge Road. Right by there was a motel or a hotel there. It was near, what was that diner, the famous diner or something, I don't know. I lived there for about 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, I've got to sign off. I've got to go catch up with the Bills game. So it was good seeing you all. Let me know when the next one is and I'll be there.
All right, take care easy, Bites.
I'm going to
Well,
sign.
guys, I'm gonna do the same thing. Be talking with you all and see you next month.
Gary will be in touch.
Hey, it's 6:20. I'm getting hungry. Gotta take care of that Dunlap disease, baby.
Hey, John, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How many hours a day do you stay on Facebook?
Oh, God.
As much as you used
Anybody
to.
I know, anywhere, you ought to get an award.
Well, I take the phone with me, so, you know, I'm pretty much on it all day.
I know that.
Yeah.
You post enough guys on messages to think of Battleship.
Well, every place I go, I post, so.
I know.
Well,
I love you, but I don't read them all.
I'll be going to Disneyland in a couple of days. Watch for my posts on Facebook.
Hey, I want you guys to be well. I'm leaving.
We'll see
All
you,
right.
Pete. I'm gonna take off too.
Me too. I'm gonna hit the road.
Take
Good
care.
talking, seeing you guys. Hey,
All
and
right,
Morris,
look forward to the next
Have
one.
a safe trip.
send them that link to figure out how to get their TV on the.
Yeah, I will. I'll send it.
Sav, you should have no trouble doing it.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay,
Morris,
great,
you want
thanks.
to create a real reunion? I'm in for the planning.
All right,
All right, I'll send you, if Andy
get
can
us
do
a
it,
hotel room. Get us a hotel room.
Yeah.
Sav, nice seeing you.
All right,
Nice
guys.
seeing you
I'll
too,
get
Pete.
posted in a day or two.
See you
Bye-bye.
guys. See you guys
All right.
next
Morris,
time.
do you have any idea when you're planning on doing another one?
What, the next meeting?
Yeah.
The first Thursday of the month.
Okay, so that'll be
I think it's
third,
October 6th.
6th, yeah.
Well,
Okay,
that's-
All right, be well, guys.
All right,
that's not a good day.
sounds
for you.
good.
All right,
Take
see you
care.
later. Bye-bye. Thanks again.
Good night.
All right, we'll see you now.
Yeah.